Now that both The Batman and The Northman are out and in theaters and now in our rearview mirrors, my most anticipated movie of the year now squarely turns my attention to that little Asgardian Thor and his love of thunder. Or no, that's not the name of it. Thor, Love and Thunder. You know what? I totally should have been called Love of Thunder. That totally is what it totally should have been called. Anyway,
there's
Thor,
still
Love, and
time.
Thunder.
There's still time.
Still time. Change the marketing materials. So anyway, this movie's coming out. Super excited for it. One of the things that unknown to me about why that a lot of film fans have become obsessed with is the idea of how long is a movie. There's been this radical wrong way of thinking that longer equals good. And that is absolutely not the case. Nor is shorter equals good. That is not the case either. Every individual movie has the perfect runtime for it, whether that's 3 hours or 90 minutes or whatever. But one of the questions a lot of us have, and I admit I'm curious about it myself, when a new film is coming out, particularly one of the comic book movies, is how long is the movie going to be? I'm just curious. Well, it looks like we've just found out how long Thor, Love and Thunder is going to be, and it's going to be one of the shortest MCU movies ever. This comes to us from the folks over at CBR, and they wrote the following. The reported runtime of Thor, Love and Thunder suggests that the film will be one of the shortest Marvel Cinematic Universe's adventures. According to an Australian cinema chain, Event Cinemas, who I believe were the first ones to drop the runtime of The Batman, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, Thor's upcoming blockbuster clocks in at 115 minutes, or 1 hour and 55 minutes. Neither Disney nor Marvel Studios has addressed the legitimacy of the time, but if it is correct, Thor, Love and Thunder will be one of the shortest movies in the entire MCU. The only movies in the sprawling superhero universe that sport a shorter runtime are The Incredible Hulk, or also known as John Campea's The Incredible Hulk, and Thor, The Dark World, both of which clock in at 112 minutes. There are a couple of MCU movies that match Thor, Love and Thunder's reported runtime of 115 minutes, namely the first Thor movie and the first Doctor Strange movie. And again, that comes to us from the folks over at CBR. All right. As of what the films that are remaining, Thor, Love and Thunder is my most anticipated. Very excited about that. What do I think about the hour and 55-minute runtime? I think nothing. Again, my philosophy is if the story that Taika Waititi has crafted has the most perfect runtime for it is an hour and 55 minutes, then God bless. Then a minute longer will be too long and a minute shorter will be too short. Thor, the first one, directed by the great Kenneth Branagh, that to me is the second most underrated comic book film of all time. Of course, only behind Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill's Man of Steel, which is the most underrated comic book film of all time. But that being said, and the first Doctor Strange is fantastic. And we never even knew Doctor Strange. We had to be introduced to the character, introduced to the entire mythology of Doctor Strange, introduced to the villain, Caecilius. We had never met any of that. All that had to be set up, established, blah, 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 blah. And they did it in an hour and 55 minutes. This one, we already know the Guardians of the Galaxy. We already know Thor. We already know his background. There's not really, I don't see there being an overwhelming necessity to have a longer runtime. All that's left right now is to get what the new story is and meet the new villain. Boy, I can't wait for you guys to meet the new villain. So for an hour and 55 minutes, I'm just going to assume if that's the length Taika Waititi wanted it to be, then that's the right length for it. Anyway, Chris, you hear about this. Number one, what do you think the odds are that this is actually the runtime? Does that fit in with the mold you're thinking? And if so, what do you think about the runtime?
I think this is definitely the runtime. I think it makes sense. Like you were saying, we know all these characters, including Lady Thor, Mighty Thor, Jane. Yeah. We don't have to reintroduce her. We just have to catch everyone up to why she has this mantle now, what she's been doing. So we really don't need too much introductory exposition at the top of this, right? We need some of that room for gore, which I'm very excited about. But when you're a character like a God Butcher, it's pretty easy to show everybody what you're about pretty quickly. Right. So I think this makes sense. And we're really not going to be able to tell if it's the right runtime until we watch the film, right? I loved The Batman. I think it's a great movie. And I thought, hey, we probably could have shaved 10 minutes off of there, personally for me, right? Everyone's going to have their own feel about how long a movie should be, right? If you're Ray Aura, you would love an hour 15 movie. That'd be perfect. But I think this is probably Taika taking the time he needs to. And one of the hardest things to do in film is editing down, right?
Yeah.
It's real easy to make a 4-hour movie.
Oh, super easy to make it
It's so
longer.
easy to
yeah.
make that. It's really, really difficult to make a nice, tight film that all makes sense and doesn't drag. So that's what I'm hoping we're getting.
I'm glad you brought up the whole thing about introducing Gorr, because if you go to the comic books, Thor's entire backstory is told in 4 pages, maybe 5 pages.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can do that. It's if you have a skilled director and writer team that are working together, that can work. Anyway, Aaron, you hear about this. I haven't asked you, are you excited about this Thor Love and Thunder at all? And then what do you think about the runtime being just a hair under 2 hours?
Very excited about it. Like I said yesterday about Taika Waititi, I think that he has a brilliant way of infusing heart and humor into every project that he is a part of. I will always be excited about Taika Waititi projects. And Chris Hemsworth just brings an effervescence to the character of Thor that is so refreshing to see. We have a lot of moody, broody superheroes, and I get it. The weight of the world is on your shoulders, but it's really nice to see a superhero that's just like, okay, let's just do this and have a little fun. And as far as the runtime, we've heard it all before. It's not the size of the boat; it's the motion of the ocean. So
wow, I have not heard that one.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Is that
that
like
Texas
a
thing?
Titanic analogy, or like what is that? What does that mean?
I mean, it's a sex analogy, actually.
So, like-
it's a metaphor. So
Now she's lost her train of thought.
Always. I used to be able to just like throw these out and it didn't shake me at all. But now for some reason, I guess I'm, getting a little prudish. Anyway, no, I do think that there's something really refreshing about being able to tell a story in a runtime that is not exhausting to audiences, and especially with the tone of this film, which is light and fun and exciting. Let's get in, let's watch a really fun movie, let's get what we need to get, and then let's just get the hell out of there. I don't need to pee my pants, Ray doesn't need to take 3 naps, and I don't want to have to pay $800 for a babysitter.
Ray may need to take 3 naps.
Yeah, Ray may
There's
take-
only one nap. That's it.
This is
That's the
one
final nap.
significant nap.
I'm looking forward to a movie that I'm in, that doesn't have me squirming in my seat and like ready to race for the bathroom after 3.5 hours. Yeah.
Ray, as soon as I saw that this thing was going to clock under 2 hours, I thought of you immediately. How happy are you at the runtime of Thor Love and Thunder?
This one I can't really say I'm happy about, because I actually find the at least the Thor Ragnarok very entertaining. Like, I like the director, what he does with movies, and you got Chris Pratt, Hemsworth doing their little dialogue thing. I have no problem with it being 1 hour 50 minutes.
All right.
That's not long to me.
All right, question is for you guys. What do you think about this? Apparently, now remember, this is not official yet. We haven't heard Disney or Marvel confirm this, but it is coming from one of the theater chains. What do you think about it? If it is 1 hour and 55 minutes, if you like it, you don't. I mean, remember, the original Star Wars was about 2 hours on the nose. I mean, the first Thor, Doctor Strange, these are all 2-hour movies. They're great. What do you guys think about it? Jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Guys, we want to take a minute and thank the sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Now, you guys have all already heard about ExpressVPN. I've talked about it a number of times in my videos. It's the best way to protect your privacy online and to give you that security online that we all need. And there's another practical reason why viewers of this show love using ExpressVPN. Take Netflix, for example. You see, thousands of shows on Netflix are only available outside of the US, so you need to change your country if you want to access them, and ExpressVPN lets you do just that. Because what the ExpressVPN app does is it encrypts your data and reroutes it through server locations of your choice. This not only protects your data, but it also lets you control which country you want Netflix to think that you're in. ExpressVPN lets you choose from over 90 different countries, so every time you run out of stuff to watch, you can just fire up the app on your laptop or smart TV, switch your country, and hit connect. And once you refresh your page, you'll get a brand new selection of shows. It's just that simple. And those reasons and many more is why ExpressVPN is the #1 rated VPN provider by publishers like TechRadar and The Verge. So guys, visit expressvpn.com/Campea right now and get 3 extra months of their service for free. That's expressvpn.com/Campea. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea to learn more.